I cannot remember the last time a pair of earbuds were as anticipated as these, the Sony WF-1000XM4. And while that might be the weirdest naming convention, you've probably heard it from the mouths of many people by now, almost overwhelmingly in a positive light. Well, I'm about to add to that because these are definitely my favorite earbuds now. Hey, it's Joshua Vergara. What's going on, everybody? These are the Sony WF-1000XM4s, which for the rest of this video I will be calling the WF Mark IVs. Before I get started, a quick thank you to all of you who are subscribed to my channel and for helping me reach this new milestone of 200,000 subscribers. I appreciate all of you and thank you so much for being along with me on this journey in tech. If you're not already subscribed to my channel, make sure you do hit that subscribe button to find more videos like the one you're watching right now. Alright, let's go in and get to these earbuds. If there's one thing that kept the Mark IIIs from a couple years back from being the absolute best, it was their design. The case was large, the unit stuck out of the ear, and they were quickly overshadowed by more streamlined competition. But one thing that everyone agreed upon was that their sound quality and active noise cancellation were just top tier. Now, the same great quality has been enhanced but put into a much smaller form factor. The buds do come in a couple of different colors, with the cases sporting wireless charging. The USB-C port is on the back, and the LED just under the lid opening gives a simple indicator of the battery level. Now, opening and closing the case does have a rather soft feel to it, if that matters to you. There aren't really any hard stops on the axis, and while it does snap down securely, it doesn't do so with much fury. Now, to the buds themselves, of which I'll say right off the bat, if you have small ears, this might be a little too much for you. Truly wireless earbuds are an intensely personal experience, and everyone's ears are different. With that being said, the WF Mark IVs are still big enough that I can see plenty of people struggling with the comfort. The large outer body has quite the bulbous shape, but the curves on the inner portions help them nestle into place, and then the ear tips are covered in something resembling memory foam. These might be different for those of you who are used to silicone tips. Memory foam like this tends to deteriorate faster with constant pushing and pulling into your ear. But here's a little bit of a tip. You should pinch the foam as often as you can before putting it in your ear so that it's easier to put into your ear, it can then expand and then conform to the shapes around it. That's the point of this material. This will minimize the amount of constant friction that the foam might be subjected to. Also, there are other sizes of these memory foam tips in the box as well, so you can choose accordingly. Now, one thing that you might be looking for is a vent for air pressure relief. It's something that you find in the AirPods Pro or the Samsung Galaxy Buds Pro. You don't get that here, but I think because of the memory foam, there's a little bit less of that earplug feeling. When you're turning on the ambient sound mode, there's still a definite feeling of something is really in my ear. So if the more open nature of the vented earphones is important to you, then these might not be the ones for you. Ultimately, I think the earbuds look really great. Even that goldish accent might be a little garish, but it helps make the WF Mark IVs stand out, and in a good way. Everything that made the Mark IIIs stand out in a bad way has been addressed here, which is already a big deal. And these earbuds even now have an IP rating so it can handle a little bit of water and dust. Now, while I have used these earbuds in the gym, I do have to mention that I don't sweat like crazy. A profuse amount of sweat could still do damage to these, so if that's what you do, take that admittedly low IP rating with a little bit of caution. The other thing Sony had to address with their latest offerings is the battery life. Thankfully, that's no issue at all for the WF Mark IVs. The earbuds can go for 8 hours of playtime, and even though I have the ambient mode on most of the time while I'm out and about, I have seldom ever heard the low battery warning. Now, of course, there are situations where truly wireless earbuds running out of battery could be a big problem. I'm talking, of course, about travel and transit. To be fair, a solid 8 hours should cover a ton of travel scenarios, but hearing the low battery prompt with most truly wireless earbuds means having to deal with your environmental noise while you're waiting for them to charge back up. The case does give up to 2 more full charges, which is great, but even better is the fact that the buds can fast charge, gaining back an hour of playback time in just 5 minutes. That's gonna come in really handy when I find myself on a long flight again. Maybe just 15 to 30 minutes in the case, and I should have more than enough juice to cover whatever time is left. And more importantly, I quickly get back to quieting the world around me. Which was of course the marquee feature of the WF Mark IIIs, and it only gets better in these Mark IVs. The active noise cancellation that we've all praised from Sony in the large over-the-ear headphones somehow got shrunken down to provide the same experience in these small earbuds. Now throw them in, turn on the active noise cancellation, and everything around you just shuts the hell up. In the case of my office, the air conditioning and my Dyson fan over there are basically no longer there. In the gym, I no longer hear the sound of the person on the treadmill next to me, nor can I hear the gym's own playlist blaring from above. And in my house, it's just a great way to decompress when all I want to do is jam out with my tunes or listen to a good podcast. And the sound quality is really up there with the absolute best for basically all genres of content. I'm a big podcast fiend these days, and the low to mid response of the WF Mark IVs do a really great job of recreating the dialogue tones that come from those typical Shure microphones, the microphones that you basically see in every podcast like Genius Brain or Trash Taste. The higher ends are nice and crisp for those poppy tunes like Boy With Love. Shouts out to the BTS Army. And while sound stages on earbuds are typically pretty narrow, there's still just enough noticeable separation in the vocals and the instruments in songs like Leave the Door Open. If you're a bass head, hip-hop and house tunes are still really good, but they just don't boom significantly out of the box. I've definitely had even heavier bass from other earbuds. But you can get closer to that super bass with the equalizer in the app, which includes a setting specific to just boosting the bass. You can also cater the EQ to your liking. With the bass boost around +5, I like to add a little more high-end just to balance it all out. Speaking of the app, this is also where you can find all the toggles for the ambient modes and for the active noise cancellation. 360 Reality Audio is also a part of these earbuds as well, but quick disclaimer. Honestly, I haven't and still don't come across much of that kind of content, so I can't really say much about it in this video. But I will admit, it is an advanced feature that is awesome to see included for these earbuds. But for the vast majority of you out there, just know that the Sony LDAC codec will still work its magic in your ears. By the by, the LDAC high-quality mode can be toggled in your phone's Bluetooth settings, and this often means that the sound processing is prioritizing quality over performance. For those of you who might be mobile gamers, I have noticed a tiny bit more latency when using LDAC than if you're not, but it's never been game-breaking. On the other side of the sound coin, we actually turn up the microphones to better hear the outside world, and while the ambient mode in the WF Mark IVs isn't the best one out there, it still provides enough for environmental awareness and for a comfortable conversation for others. And to that end, Sony has put a few smart features to take out some of that mode switching. Speak to Chat is self-explanatory, in which the buds will detect when you are talking and turn the ambient mode on while turning down whatever you might have been listening to. There's also location detection, in which the microphones will do the same depending on where they think you are. Now, these are very nice features, but honestly I don't really use them very often because if I have both earbuds in, it's easy enough to just tap the left earbud to change the sound mode. And of course, if I'm singing along with my music, that speak to chat function can be more annoying than helpful. If anything, the quick attention gesture is the one that I use the most, in which I have both earbuds in and then you press and hold on the left side, which will activate the ambient mode on demand. So the ambient mode is not the best I've ever experienced, but neither is the call quality. Now, you're hearing the audio coming from the earbuds right now in my usual testing scenario, which is with the Samsung Galaxy S21 Ultra, because in the Pro Video mode, you can record audio through the Bluetooth headset that is connected. Now, this is different from like calls or anything like that. The audio might be a little bit different because there's so many variables involved. But let me know what you think of the audio in this quick test clip. Personally, I have used these for a bunch of different video calls, and no one has ever complained about the way that I sound during those scenarios, but let me know what you think about what you're hearing right now. I do wish there was a bit more control. Now, this is one of my only complaints with the WF Mark IVs, but even then it's addressed in a feature that I'll cover after this. The touch-sensitive areas take taps and holds but no swipes, which might already signal to you that there's no volume control in these earbuds. While there are single, double, and triple taps for playlist control on the right ear, the left ear uses taps and holds for the sound modes and for triggering that on-demand ambient mode I just talked about. You can change a couple of these things in the application, but that's basically it. The other layer to this control situation is that only the right ear can be used in a singular fashion. That's because the WF Mark IVs have this primary and secondary setup. Now, this is usually a major complaint for me, but the long battery life of even just that one right ear of 8 hours makes it pretty moot. So for typical days, a full charge in the right earbud makes it so that I can go all day with ambient mode on, and with sound at around half volume. This is my most often used scenario. And if the media ever distracts me, just a quick tap on the right earbud pauses it, and then I can talk more comfortably or just continue with what I'm focusing on. I just wish I could do more with taps, presses, and especially swipes, but I guess you can only do so much with what you're given. Now there's one last control, and that's a tap and hold on the right earbud, and that actually opens up a lot more possibilities. If you ask me, a criminally underrated feature of some earbuds is voice assistant support. And while the WF Mark IVs can take Amazon's Assistant, it's the Google Assistant integration that I have used the most and what really elevates these earbuds for me. There are plenty of audio products that support this extra assistant layer. Basically, you can use those headphones like Pixel Buds, in that you can press and hold on the touch area and then talk to Google Assistant in a walkie-talkie fashion. My typical scenario is to press and hold, hear the beep, and set a timer for steeping my tea. I've actually used this very thing for another food-related situation when I was cooking a Wagyu steak, just a couple minutes on either side on a cast iron grill. Other than that, pretty much anything that you would normally do in a Google Home smart speaker is now just sitting right in your ear. I could turn on the Nest thermostat in my office, I can turn off the bedroom lights, play the latest news, and even get notifications read out loud to me. But you know what? Here's the best part. Turn on ambient mode. Okay, and then set volume to 45%. There you go. That's right, the sound modes and the volume like I just showed you are also voice activated through this Google Assistant layer. So all of those controls that I wish were on the WF Mark IVs via touch are actually accessible in another way. That way, I can actually do everything that I want with these earbuds easily through just the right ear. So, take these earbuds for the sum of their parts. A better design, amazing sound quality, totally immersive active noise cancellation, a good ambient sound mode, 360 reality audio if you're into that kind of thing, and a layer of voice assistants that bring the convenience and functionality of a smart speaker with you in your ear. There is a chance that you have looked at the WF Mark IVs recently, after all the videos and content that's coming out about them, but you shied away because of their price. And while they definitely are in the high-tier price points, I think they're priced appropriately for all the things that they do and do well. These earbuds might be overkill for some of you, and if the price is too steep, they probably are. But for those of you who are still happy with your current, more affordable offerings, chances are you just haven't experienced yet what the upper echelon of sound quality, ANC, and other features can possibly bring you. And I would argue that if and when you have the chance to invest in something this good, you should definitely do it. And join the rest of us who were teeming with anticipation, waiting for the Sony WF-1000XM4 to arrive. And when they did, our ears just could not be happier. For more on truly wireless earbuds and audio products like this and beyond, make sure you subscribe to my channel. For now, drop some likes on this video and let me know what you think of the WF Mark IVs in the comment sections down below. With all of that said, we're going to go ahead and call it on this one. Thank you so much for watching. Please take care of yourselves and each other, and enjoy your tea, everybody. Thank you again for 200,000 subscribers.